because for 54 years they were trying to get Roe v. Wade terminated, and I did it, and I'm proud to have done it.
In 2016, Donald Trump ran to overturn Roe v. Wade. Now, in 2024, he's running to pass a national ban on a woman's right to choose. I'm running to make Roe v. Wade the law of the land again, so women have a federal guarantee to the right to choose. Donald Trump doesn't trust women. I do. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
You thought April the 1st only happened on April the 1st. No, in the case of 7 particular House representatives who are Trumpy Trumps, April the 1st is something they're going to continue for as long as they can get attention on it. They would like to... Sorry, can we just bring this up 1 second? They would like to take the history of Washington Dulles Airport
National Airport. It was the village of Willard, Virginia. Louis Jett can explain every inch of what the town that once stood here represented.
This whole 8 to 10 acres is all Willard. This is Willard.
And he's kept every single memory stowed away in this binder that he dons on weekly. Jett says it was an all-black town full of life.
The government sent my father and mother a letter saying our land was condemned. The date was September 1958, and we had to be gone by September 1958.
He says they were paid a little over $8,000 for their 2-story house that his dad built himself and their land. And now this history will be displayed in an exhibit where it once stood tall and proud. Alexis Wainwright, WUSA 9.
throw it away and have the airport renamed as... I'm not messing around like April Fools. They have not invented the word. They want to rename the airport after Trump. I mean, 1 second, sorry. They have nothing better to do than... You'd actually think they'd be more concerned about over Speaker Johnson, Mike Johnson, potentially being... His majority is very, very slim, being replaced by Hakeem Jeffries. But no, they are pandering to former guy. Come on. Oh, dear. And talking of that, 1 second, sorry. There is a simple fact, okay? The election is not going to be decided by your Jesse Waters, your people at Fox. Look, this guy, by the way, where are we? Let's go back. This guy could actually be a Fox News host, although, to be fair, I think he's probably more honest. Would you trust your whole life, everything, of what's... If you're in a swing state, are you really going to think... It all comes down to the nonsense I'm being spoken to by... Well, the laughing policeman is... I'm trying to be totally serious. If you're in a swing state, you're going to listen to the... I can't do this.
Let's bring in Fox News contributor, George Washington University professor Jonathan Turley. So, Jonathan, it's not a surprise. He said he could post it, and he did post it. Do we have a timing of when the appeal will take place, when the arguments will dig in?
No, we don't have a clear idea, but this clears the way for the court to finally look at what many of us view as an obscene judgment. I mean, this number was pulled out of nowhere. When you drill down on the order, there's really nothing there. I mean, the court basically makes a series of assumptions, might be speculations about how much he might have saved. But there were no victims here. There wasn't a single penny that was lost by anyone. The banks involved testified that they wanted more business from Trump. So to come up with this astronomical figure really shocks the conscience. Now, on appeal, he's going to have trouble with this New York law. It is unique. It doesn't require victims. It doesn't require losses. But they still have to justify the amount. Right. And that could go all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, so you're saying the judge will have to justify why he was posting a bond or asking for a bond of $454 million?
Right. I mean, there's no justification, in my view, in the order. So that's going to go up, and these judges are going to have to look at it. And quite frankly, I think the integrity of the New York legal system is at stake here. You know, you can't just have a special criminal, or in this case, civil code for Trump. You know, it has to be consistent. And when you're the leading business law jurisdiction in the world, this has really put a shell below the waterline. I mean, a lot of people are looking at this and saying, but for the grace of God, go I. Am I going to be the next person that gets tagged by someone like James?
Right. Let's switch gears for just a second, Jonathan, and talk a little bit about what happened yesterday on the West Coast. Hunter Biden back in the news again. Abby Lowell apparently pled with the judge out there for 3 hours, it sounds like he talked, where he was trying to convince the judge to throw out the tax charges against Hunter Biden, who, by the way, was at the White House Easter egg roll yesterday. At the end, essentially, it sounds like, nope, the judge is saying, full steam ahead, there's going to be a trial.
Well, this is really stinging. I mean, the court said, you didn't give me anything. I was looking for something called evidence. And instead, you gave me a series of press clippings and said that I should toss this whole thing out. He said, I don't do that. I'm a court. You've got to show me something that is legally credible. You didn't. And so have a good time. You're on your way to trial.
So, Jonathan, do you get the sense, and this is what the judge said in that motion, the motion is remarkable, that it fails to include a single declaration, exhibit, or request for judicial notice. Instead, defendants cites portions of various internet news sources, social media posts, and legal blogs. These citations, however, are not evidence. So I guess my question is, do you get the sense that there was no preparation because they thought that they were going to get the sweetheart deal? And when the federal judge said, is there really any precedent, looks over to the prosecution as well as looks over to the defense, and both of them said no, then they have to actually come up with a legal strategy?
Well, there is an element of improvisation that you see in these filings, which is quite disturbing. There was no way that this was getting thrown out. And the argument of selective prosecution has a lot of people sort of chuckling because all the way up to that indictment, this was special treatment. That is, they allowed statute of limitations to run, and they've never explained why. Even after this plea agreement fell apart, the U.S. Attorney, the Department of Justice said, we were trying to resurrect it. It was the Hunter Biden people that were not playing ball. So this has been a case of special treatment, not selective prosecution, in my view.
John, lastly, just on the massive gag order put on the former President of the United States in the Alvin Bragg case, because they don't want him talking about prosecutor Matthew Colangelo, and they don't want him talking about the judge's daughter. But Matthew Colangelo was in the Justice Department with Joe Biden. That is outrageous to President Trump. Also, the fact is, the judge's daughter is an activist who works for Kamala Harris, and there was some dispute on whether she did have a picture up on a website with Donald Trump behind bars. That, to me, is something that if I'm Donald Trump, I'm a little concerned about, that the judge has a daughter who feels this way.
Yeah, I've actually been opposed to gag orders for years, particularly efforts to gag you, Brian. But
that's been widespread.
That's just coming from your it's coming from your colleagues, which is really but you're absolutely right. This is a really controversial order, and I think it's wrong. You've got Michael Cohen, who is going on the air every night attacking Trump, or basically campaigning against him. He's not allowed to respond. Now, I would prefer that Trump leave these attacks or issues raised with the judge's family to his counsel. I think that's always the better approach. But you, in this case, you had prosecutors pushing this trial right before an election. The judge is assisting in that, and then they want to gag the president for talking about the main issue in the election. Whether they like it or not, this election is likely to turn on this question of the weaponization of the legal system. And so I think that these courts have to acknowledge that. You've got a D.C. judge that says, I'm not going to take any acknowledgement or accommodation for the fact you're running for president. Really? Because you're insisting on trying him all the way up to and possibly through the election.
Yeah, I was watching another network this morning, and the news anchor in the copy she was reading from a teleprompter said these false claims that Donald Trump is making about the judge's daughter. All right, thank you so much, Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Because for 54 years, they were trying to get Roe v. Wade terminated, and I did it. And I'm proud to have done it.
In 2016, Donald Trump ran to overturn Roe v. Wade. Now, in 2024, he's running to pass a national ban on a woman's right to choose. I'm running to make Roe v. Wade the law of the land again, so women have a federal guarantee to the right to choose. Donald Trump doesn't trust women. I do. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.